Okay, sorry, that was not even worth tweeting that we were gone and we'll be right back.
So Nick is going to go more fully lock. Like, he's probably going to take out the worm coil engine. He's going to take out the duplicant, and that's going to be immediately for the 4th revoker and the sphere of resistance. Now, where he stands on the Ghost Quarter and Crucible of Worlds, I'm not 100% sure on that. Right. So I could see bringing in 1 Crucible of Worlds. He probably doesn't. I think he has 3 in his sideboard. Oh, as fancy as this deck list is, that's actually pretty hard to bring. Whether that's
I'm pretty sure that that's a 3.
Yeah, so I don't think he would bring in all 3. It's possible that 1 is worth it. But really, Nick's strategy in this matchup is just build up spheres in play, make it hard to do anything broken.
Right.
And,
I'm very disappointed, by the way. I was really hoping, and maybe I'll have to wait until later rounds to do it. I just want to see someone managing a treasure cruise.
Not going to see it in this matchup.
No. No.
But yeah, that'll happen. I'm sure it'll happen today.
Yeah, what happened in the trial yesterday, you could hear the weeping.
The other thing Nick could consider is like a Relic of Progenitus, because so many of Brian's draws involve Yawgmoth's Will.
Sure.
But probably not worth it.
I mean, if you're going to go more lock, I mean, it seems like the Ghost Quarter Crucible plan plays very well into that.
Right. The thing is, Brian only has 7 land in his deck or something crazy. So how many times can you really wasteland the guy? I mean, he only has 10 land, 11 land. I'm sorry, it's 11.
So 11 times.
Yeah, 11 times, you're right. I forgot about the Seats of Synod. So he has like 11 land in his deck.
So Ghost Quarter is essentially just strip mine.
Oh, Ghost Quarter is strip mine, for sure.
In this draw Dark Ascension booster draft,
now the cards that Demars is Brian is taking out, I mean, Thoughtseize is terrible. So he has 2 of those to take out. Those are really bad in the matchup. Nihil Spellbomb is not very good. So are they both on 7 still here? And I'm not sure what Brian does with cards like Wheel of Fortune and Time Twister in this matchup, especially on the draw. They don't seem great.
Right.
But you know, this is essentially a combo deck. It doesn't have quite enough control elements to play like the in-between game, so he does have to be careful with how much action he boards out.
Brian Demars is mulliganing. Did Nick, we've got some stuff I was saying, did Nick keep his? Yeah, it looks like Nick kept his 7. Brian Demars, up a game, is going to 6 cards.
So what Nick wants to do here is see Brian never cast a spell.
Yeah.
Something, land, sphere, next turn Lodestone Golem. Let's just go to the next game.
When Richard Garfield in 1992 and 93 was, 92 probably was testing Magic. He's like, okay, we're gonna play test this game. I hope you never play a spell.
That is what I mean. When I picture the way Magic was developed, I feel like the first 2 cards that went into Alpha were Stone Rain and Ice Storm. Like, I want to create a game where people think they can do something, but then cannot. So here we go. See, here we go. Emerald Soul Ring Sphere. Do you have the Force of Will? No.
And a Mishra's Factory.
So City of Brass.
Into Mox Jet.
So, but he only has 1 Mox, so that's good for Nick.
Yeah, not as resilient to draw. Was that Wasteland?
Yeah.
And back you for 2 with Leash Factory.
I mean, if this was the Null Rod version of Shops, this matchup would be heavily in Nick's favor.
What comes out in this to make room for Null Rod?
Oh, well, it's not the Forge Master version.
Okay.
But
okay. So now for Phyrexian Revoker.
And Mox Jet.
Right, Strip Mine's the Jet.
Yeah, now to Double Factory. So this game's almost over already. Like, it's
Insane.
really hard. I mean, Brian could go land. I mean, he could Hercules in 2 turns.
Yeah.
He goes land. But I mean, the clock is 3 turns now. And there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this is another thing. When you don't have fetch lands in your deck, you can't build.
You can't
up.
play around.
Right. Like normally, what you would do in Vintage here is play a fetch, play a fetch, play a fetch. Then you would stack them all at once and cast something. When you have Cities of Brass in your deck, you can't do that. So then, and
Yeah,
the game's
that's
just
this
over.
game. Yeah, he's like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's what the shop stacks want to see. In Vintage Super League, I had a couple matchups in the first round when I played the shop stack that I play. Very similar. Like if you play against someone, the difference between having a bunch of fetch lands in your deck and Cities of Brass in a spot like that is just huge.
Yeah.
Like you just really. You play one land a turn, you don't fetch anything, they're only attacking you for 2 or 4, you get down to 7, end of turn, Hurkyl's Recall, untap, do a bunch of stuff. Right. But just don't have that option.
I definitely remember playing with Sphere of Resistance years ago in Extended, where we tried to build a deck where you'd like get a smokestack out with a Sphere of Resistance, and then play a Chronotog, and then just
say go.
Here, please have all the turns until you can do nothing.
Right, and there are of course smokestack decks, but all these shop stacks have really moved away from smokestack for a variety of reasons. But
hey everybody, we're waiting on these guys as they shuffle up here for Game 3. Brian David Marshall, Chris Bakula, perhaps you've named a card with Meddling Mage. We just wanted to get a little bit of that familiar mug on camera for you.
We're way more exciting than shuffling. Do we know what's going on in the other match? The Menendia Steve Rubin match? I know some of us are rooting for things. I'm not saying who or what.
Steve Rubin was up a game last we heard.
Yeah, well, but I mean, it's almost like a given. That's the thing with Dredge. It's like you're playing Dredge, you probably won game 1. Especially, I mean, this is why I like Dredge. Like it used to be, Dredge was not. You didn't automatically win game 1 because some people went like Blightsteel Colossus, and you're like, oh, like now so few people do that. Very few. I mean.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna pick up though here. Game 3 between Nick Detwiler and Brian Demars.
And Demars on the play is just huge.
Well, he is on the mulligan again.
The mulligans just don't hurt his deck quite as badly.
Oh,
I mean,
is he mulliganing, or are they still just shuffling?
I'm interested in the Demars sideboard because, like, Thoughtcast is an interesting card. Is that good against shops? But on the play, play versus the draw is just so different. So different. And
I can give you a little more flavor on the back table.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So Steve Rubin is playing Dredge, and Menendian, I walked over after the first game, he was just kind of shaking his head. He's like, he's on Dredge, so we got game 1. Then the sideboard cards come in. Game 2, though, Grafdigger's Cage got destroyed, and Dredge is now dredging and doing its thing, and Icarus are coming into play. So I actually like Steve Rubin's position there. It seems like he was able to blow up a Grafdigger's Cage.
Oh, yeah, and one interesting thing about Menendian's deck is he's doing the thing where half my Dredge hate is Leyline of the Void, but I can't actually cast Leyline of the Void. So if I don't get it on my opening hand, it just doesn't come into play, right? Like he
had no Leylines in the game 2 but he did have the cage.
Right. The thing I was checking Steve's deck list for is he's probably the person most likely in the room to be playing Lotus Cobra. I want to see if he had, but he doesn't have it. But Lotus Cobra would be a sweet way to be able to cast Leyline of the Void, but so Lotus Cobra's fallen out of favor. It was a brief period of time where there was some excitement involving Lotus Cobra in Vintage, mostly because you could play a fetch. You could play 1 black land in your deck, but use it to cast Necropotence with Lotus Cobra in play. But we haven't seen that in a while.
If anyone is interested in drafting cons,
I would also do that.
Yeah.
It's in need of 1 person. So if you're interested,
Wait, what's happening here?
right now,
I thought Nick kept for some reason. Are they both going to 6? I guess.
We're gonna get a hand update here on what's going on. It looks like maybe Nick was still finishing up shuffling his deck as Brian was resolving his mulligan.
Can't they sell? They need to start selling us Magic cards pre-shuffled. Can they do that?
Yeah.
You pick up your deck, it's just shuffled.
Tap the deck. They're
Yeah.
all shuffled.
Maybe someday.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys actually every Tuesday
Yeah, every Tuesday.
play with the
Magic
deck that shuffles itself.
Yeah. But that's been working against me too. Is that-
Oh, are you? You're not. You're not a shuffler, truther, are you?
I'm definitely not a shuffler truther. All right, so
Okay.
that is, what is that, preordain? What is that? Land preordain. So that's non-explosive.
That seems, not broken.
Not, but here we go.
And so that's Mana Crypt.
So this is
Mox
interesting that the workshop deck forces you to kind of play your Mana Crypt even though you can't do anything with it.
Right, even though you might just randomly dome yourself.
Right. Oh wow, here we go.
All right, Mana Crypt, Black Lotus.
That's a thorn.
That's another thorn.
And a wasteland. So wow, someone is gonna die to Mana Crypt this game. That's how I'm feeling.
Here's a die.
Wow. So both players are. So first of all, let me say that Seed of Synod is huge here. The fact that he can play a land that counts as an artifact is pretty big in this spot. But I mean, this could be a really weird game where they both just kind of flail around and the Mana Crypts kill one of them. I mean, we don't know their hands, but if Nick has a Mishra's Factory in his hand, that could be pretty big.
Right, you get a couple hits in with that.
Yeah, so like Mishra's Factory, Seed of Synod, those are really big here. Kind of lands that normally are on the fringe of.
What's so relevant about Seed of Synod?
Oh, because the Mox Opal being turned on with Metalcraft.
Sure.
So normally you would have to cast, and there it is.
And there it is.
Right. Normally you would have to cast a spell to turn on Mox Opal, which is extremely difficult under the two thorns. But in this case, and in some matchups the seat's a liability. This is not one of them.
All right.
So, and Nick is really locked under his own stuff here.
Yeah. Paying 2 mana for his Mox Pearl.
And this is an example of, although this version doesn't, why there are some versions of the shop decks that don't play Black Lotus. Because you put so much pressure on yourself with your spheres affect you and you have expensive spells in your deck that the Black Lotus, like being a one-shot, yeah, you got your Thorn into play, but now you can't even cast your own spells, so your opponent just gets more time, which kind of counteracts the effect.
Speaking of one shot, Ancient Grudge takes down one of the spheres at the end of the turn.
All right, now the other, this game, this Seed of Synod kind of changed everything. That was the big thing. Now it's looking really bad for Nick. Just really bad.
Oh, and an Ingot Chewer.
Yeah, which doesn't cost more under the...
Yeah, because it's a creature spell. I do love a good Ingot Chewer beatdown.
Yeah, this is the second hard casting Ingot we've seen.
If you sign up,
Academy is a good draw.
Yeah, that's Solarian Academy.
please come up to the side events area.
Ancient Grudge in the yard, though.
Yeah. Booster draft number 3. Please come up to the side events area.
It's Lodestone Golem, yeah.
I'm not 100%. I don't know how we're doing on life totals involving the Mana Crypts. I don't know if we're actually caught up.
Yeah, no, we have the table
Okay.
judge texting them.
Okay.
Over as it
ETG
happens.
competitors, your pairings are being posted.
They're just apparently getting pretty.
Yeah,
lucky.
I guess so. I
They're
was not
outperforming.
I was not prepared for luck of this level. I assumed we were doing something wrong. Oh, look, sorry. Demars did get dinged there. All right.
Yep. Flashes back the Grudge.
Is that another Grudge?
Is
Is that the same Grudge?
I think it's the same
okay, there
Grudge.
we go.
Yeah.
Oh boy. He's gonna Burning Wish while he can.
Is this the Vandal Blast?
Yeah, I don't know what he's. I assume so, but
Just back to the Stone Age, buddy.
Man, I wish you could get any sorcery and magic here, because I'm sure we can come up with something sweet.
I think it's Wheel of Fortune.
Wow, Wheel of Fortune. Oh, so that's an interesting choice. You board out the Wheel of Fortune in this match, because it's... Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing without playing the deck, like... I had not thought of the fact that, well, you board out Wheel or Time Twister because they aren't that great, but you still want the option.
When they're good, you can get them.
Yeah. Time Twister's blue, so it goes with your Force of Wills.
All right, there's a factory.
Yeah. The Ingot Chewer Mana Crypt.
All right, now it's Demars is running a little more.
Yeah, I mean, Wheel of Fortune with no spheres in play is
Is this going to be disgusting?
yeah, I mean,
I need a motion sickness bag.
it's going to be tough. Tough for Nick. Not so tough for Brian. Yeah.
Like, what are the cards that Nick? Even though he's going to draw cards, he doesn't have really the ability to interact.
No.
On his opponent's turn,
No,
right?
he would need Brian to kind of whiff and then dump his whole hand. That would be like... And Brian may not even cast it. Just because it seems like he's tinkering. Or is he just playing another one? Oh, he's just playing another one.
You should be in your seats now.
So legendary
Right.
Mox.
No, there's... Oh, boy.
If you aren't, you need to...
Flaring Academy. This is getting a little... Nature's Claim to Mana Crypt.
Yep. That's almost all the cards.
Yeah.
PTQ competitors, the time
That's
is
Wheel of Fortune.
50 p.m. Welcome to round 4. You have 50 minutes. Please begin.
So Nick shows me he's just holding a Wasteland in hand there.
Yeah, this is... Oh, another thing that I haven't talked about at all is like how crazy Chalice of the Void is in this matchup. You just draw Chalice? Yeah. That's a card I'd completely forgotten about.
Look, a Thoughtcast. Still in there.
Yeah, can't board. Well, you can't board out. If you tried to like expensive cards that may not be good against shop stacks, it describes a lot of cards in his deck. So, this is gross. This is vintage. He hasn't even tapped that Academy yet.
Oh, Mana Vault. A Lotus Paddle.
Oh, another kind of Lotus Paddle thing.
Did he just pass the turn?
Yeah. So, to step one, Nick would have to like revoker the Goblin Welder.
Oh, because he's just happy to pass the turn with Goblin Welder. He knows that nothing too awful can happen
Well,
to
I
him.
mean, Brian doesn't have that much action in his deck, especially after he boards in
I gotcha.
artifact kill. So I'm trying to think. So, I mean, there's a Force of Will. So, I was right about what step one was, but then it was not allowed to happen. So yeah. So Brian's deck is already sort of a little bit short on action cards. It's a lot of mana. The action cards are just extreme action. So it's not that hard for him to whiff. And I was going to say step 2 is strip the Academy. So he's got all that going on. He needs to get more artifacts in place so that Academy allows him to like cast something powerful here too. But the Welder makes it really hard. Chalice on 0. 0 resistance. So it's fine, but he really needed the Revoker to stick. It's possible he should not have even led with the Revoker. I just feel like the Revoker gives Brian too many options.
Sure.
Well, dude. Yeah. Wow, so Brian's playing it real slow here. He did not because he got behind on the Mana Crypt's flips, he is leaving Ingature back to block.
Mishra's Factory.
To block the factory.
Do we know what happened on that Menendian Ruben match?
Yeah, the Dredge player 1-2-0. Ruben got there.
Yeah. So Menendian loses the Dredge on the non-feature match, non-camera feature match.
Yeah.
That's no surprise. I mean, I've been saying all day, like, Dredge beating Delver decks is going to be a big part of this weekend, I think.
Is Menendian on Delver for this event?
Yeah.
Okay, Wasteland.
Oh, and there goes the Mana Crypt.
Yeah.
Is that Dismember?
It looks like Dismember.
So Nick thought that the Welders were important enough in this matchup where he brought in the Dismembers. But he's just kind of one turn late on that. Keeping that Mana Crypt in play
Yeah.
could have been big. But I mean, it really is looking like Brian sort of whiffed, right? Like, he doesn't have any. If he had action, he would have cast it. Like, there's only one sphere in play. He had a lot of mana.
Yeah. There were not many cards he could draw that he might have two lands.
So if he drops a Mishra's Factor here, like the Ingature has to block and trade, really. There's a Lodestone Golem.
Yep.
There's another factory. Wow, this is actually crazy.
Wants to play the Pearl, he cannot. Chalice is set on 0.
Demars' deck just does not have enough ways, does not have a density of ways to win.
Right, he really needed to wheel into into a Burning Wish or.
Well, wheeling into. I mean, that's what the Wheel Force was supposed to do.
He
but
wished for it, yeah. There's another Lodestone Golem.
I mean, this is basically looking like Hercule's Recall or you're dead. So it's weird that he didn't.
Okay, Mishra gets in for 2, and the Ingature steps in the way of the Lodestone Golem. And Brian Demars falls to 8. And is going to be down to next to lethal next turn. Time Walk.
This is super interesting. Like, it seemed like the kind of thing where man. I can't recall seeing a game play out quite like this.
Okay.
This is a danger of cards like Wheel of Fortune. And that's a big gamble.
Yeah, because you both have 7.
Right. I would imagine he had got Brain Geyser. He could have cast Brain Geyser for like 7. Right? I mean, he had Tolarian Academy, which he never even tapped that turn, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Do people play Brain Geyser?
Right, because he played that Academy before he wheeled, right? He did a bunch of stuff and then wheeled. No one plays Brain Geyser.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, like, if you had it's a sorcery, it could be in your be in your sideboard. I mean, no one plays it anymore. But I'm just saying, like, Wheel of Fortune can be a real gamble, and his deck does not have a lot of ways to win.
Here's an Ingature.
So Ingature is a very good draw here. Gives him a lot of time because kills a Lodestone Golem, and now Nick has to attack with 1 factory. It trades.
Right.
It's a big draw.
Okay, Golem down.
The Mana Vault is now tapped though, and he's at 8.
Oh yeah.
Another Mishra's Factor here would be pretty big, because then both factories can attack. So he'll get through 2 this turn and then 4 next turn. Doesn't attack at all.
Plays Revoker.
I don't get that play.
What did he name on Revoker? Can he name Mana Vault and like not let it untap?
I don't know.
Okay.
What is that crazy altar he just played? So Nick just played an altered card of some sort, and he's shown it to me before, but I don't remember what it is.
He did name Mana Vault on Revoker. So you can't pay to untap it.
Is that true? Yeah, I guess that's probably true. Well, I'm a little surprised that... is that a Forge Master? What is that thing? Can we find out what the altar is?
Drew Brandner to the main event stage.
Once again, we see a Revoker naming a card that it doesn't stop. We saw someone play Revoker.
Well, he can't tap it for mana, at least, if he does untap.
Sure.
I'm a little surprised he didn't name, like, Dak Faden or something.
Oh, sure. He just attacks with the Mishra. She becomes a 2/2 assembly worker.
Yeah. Oh, that's a Trinisphere as the altar?
Ingature is going to step in the way. And then Detwiler is going to use his other Mishra's Factory to make that a 3/3.
They'll
trade his Mishra's Factory for a Chur.
Alright, and I guess Brian is trying to figure out if he actually saves himself turns this way, since it's holding off a Revoker next turn. Oh, I'll take key.
Part of the way there.
Yeah. Wow. If Nick loses this next turn to a Time Vault off the top, that would be soul crushing. Just soul crushing.
Okay. In for 4.
Does he have another Revoker? He does have a Revoker. Wow.
Name's key, obviously.
Or Time Vault. I don't know what he named, but that's just a huge draw because that. Let me tell you. That's like one of those like.
Please
like,
not
sure,
like this.
Sure, it won you the game, but that saved you. That saved your life because that one time in 30 or whatever, where he draws the Time Vault.
He just named Time Vault.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like, if you want to make infinite mana, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Because that would have been a really, really harsh way to lose. This sort of reminds me of a game we had at Vintage Champs last year where Reed Duke, who played Storm last year, he got into what seemed like kind of an advantageous position and his deck just didn't have enough action cards. He was like, he got like a Mind's Desire or something and he Mind's Desired a bunch and, oh no. Is that Demonic Tutor? Wow. So this could be huge. This could swing the whole game.
I mean, if you cast Demonic Tutor at this point of the game with this developed a board, you really had better win, right?
Well, he can't do anything he wants. There's a sphere and a chalice in play.
Active player finish your turn, proceed with 5.
Gets a Tinker.
Maybe he has Strength of the Steel Wind.
Again, vintage players, that is time in the round.
Sphinx of the Steel Wind. So he did bring it in. Wow. The last possible turn. This has been an amazing match. So it's pro red, pro green, lifelink, vigilance. Oh, Forge Master. So, metamorph. So he's copied the Sphinx.
Oh no!
Wow, that Forge Master, metamorph, and Wormcoil Legend all look the exact same to me. But I don't know if that says something about my age or.
So these are just gonna bounce off of each other.
But they're gonna gain. It's gonna be 8 life, or 7 life, 6 life.
Yeah.
6.
So Thought Cast.
Wow, what a match this has been.
All right, just down to 3.
Nick does not really have a way to get that Sphinx out of the way. So he's sort of forced to. And so Brian is going to go back to 9. Like he's going to gain that 6 life. I'm pretty sure. I think it's unavoidable.
Yeah, but if but it's vigilance, right? So it doesn't,
Right.
So it doesn't matter.
So I think he has to block with it here. He has to trade. There's Time Vault, which currently does not do anything. But now when the artifact kills, like game over. So wait, so Brian did not attack, huh? So I think Dismember, if Nick were to attack with everything and then have a Dismember, I think he would win. But I don't know if he has that. Because he would have 3 2/2s. He would have 3 2-power creatures. The Dismember would make the Sphinx only a 1/1.
Right.
I can't see his hand though, and he only has 2 Dismembers in his board. He already cast 1. So.
What you're saying is you summon it to the top of his deck by talking about it.
That would be a sweet way to see it'd be a very interesting way for the game to end, right? Like, Dismember your Sphinx with the Steel Wind so that you don't gain life is like not what you expect in this kind of matchup. Creature combat. I don't know what he could have that doesn't just involve attacking with my Sphinx into your Sphinx, because it's also interesting that if he had a second Metamorph here, I still think you wouldn't copy the Sphinx. You would. Why is he?
Right. Animates a Mishra's Factory.
So he okay, so
just trade. So 20 plays 9 or 20 plays 8.
So if he had Tangle Wire, he really needed another Metamorph or another Revoker there.
Oh, we're in extra turns.
Well, it doesn't. So that actually means that Brian can't win. So even if he gets all the turns here, Nick's not gonna. There's no reason for Nick to concede.
Sure.
So Brian is at best a draw. Although Nick Detwiler is definitely the kind of person who would concede here even though there's Time Twister. But with 1 sphere out, that's it. Wow. Nick Detwiler, incredible match.
Wow.
I really just I don't recall seeing a match play out that way. That was really fantastic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the booth. Brian David Marshall here with Chris Piccolo. We just watched Nick Detwiler and his, what are we calling
Martello
this?
Shops.
Martello Shops. What is the Martello in Martello Shops?
I don't know.
Okay.
I assume some dude named Martello played it at some point. But I really don't know.
Tom Martell's Italian cousin?
Possibly. He took down former Grand Prix champion Brian Demars in the Steel City Vault deck. And I gotta say, that was one of the more interesting workshop matches I've watched in a long time. Like Demars got to a position where he could kind of do what he wanted.
Right.
Just Wheel of Fortune into not
the
enough.
Burning Wish, the really crucial Burning Wish into Wheel of Fortune just didn't yield enough gas.
Some combination of he wheeled himself into a situation where it was just a 1-for-1 trading thing, and Nick came out with more things at the end.
Yeah.
And for Brian to end the game, he basically needs Vault Key right there.
Right.
He's not really going to be able to tendrils you out.
There are multiple draws he can have there on that wheel that he never passes the game back.
Right.
To Nick Detwiler.
Right.
Where he's just like, well, I'm just gonna kill you now. I'm gonna take all the turns. I'm gonna do something.
I'm gonna play a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna Hercules myself. I'm gonna Burning Wish. I'm gonna Tendrils do 7 times.
Right.
Like the easy Tendrils kills, the way this deck wins a lot of games.
Yeah.
When instead you draw Ingot Chewer.
Yeah.
So I kill your thing. Think about what he hard cast an Ingot Chewer that game.
Yeah.
Hard cast 2 Ingot Chewers.
Yeah.
He Ancient Grudged and flashed it back. He did so much stuff that game, and Nick never had him really.
Is this the reverse Holy Picola?
It was kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
It happens. It's just a cool game. I'm glad to see that a game can actually play out in a way that is not a blowout. It was interesting. Lots of turns. It was great.
So it felt blown out, but it wasn't ever a blowout.
We didn't even feel blow up.
Yeah.
It was just a cool game.
Yeah, no, awesome. I'm just saying, at the end of the game, it just felt like,
And it was very. I mean, and we even got the chance for some real heartbreaking top decks at the end. So.
So how do you feel about Detwiler's chances going forward in this tournament?
I think they're very good.
In a field full of, maybe Blue-Red Delver, which is sort of the word on the street.
I think his chances are good. I think he knows the matchups, and he's prepared. I think they specifically played this version of Shops because they thought their other Shop decks were not very good against the Delver deck.
Okay.
The other Shop decks have a real problem where the whole land Delver thing sometimes just kills them. Like, you can play a Sphere every turn for 9 turns in a row, but if a 3-power flyer hits you every turn, you end up dead at the end.
Right.
Like this deck can kind of win a little more quickly. It's even got a flyer. It's got the Worm Coil engine. It's got a lot more things it can do.
Okay.
So I think his chances are good. He's got Dredge Hate. I like the deck.
Meanwhile, on the back table, Steve Rubin defeats Steve Menendian. Steve Rubin's playing Dredge. A mana-powered Dredge deck, right?
Yeah.
He's got mana.
Oh, yeah.
He's able to cast some spells. Right.
Crucially, he was able to cast Nature's Claim.
Nature's Claim, yeah.
Down goes Grafdigger's Cage.
Right. It's amazing how, historically counterspells, they kind of stink against Dredge. Doesn't cast spells. But Mental Misstep's amazing against Dredge. Because their whole sideboard plan involves, like, Nature's Claim your thing, whatever that bounce spell is, Chain of Vapor your thing.
Right. Worth noting about Steve Rubin, by the way, Steve Rubin had a very strong hand in designing Ari Lax's Pro Tour winning deck from Pro Tour Cons of Tarkir.
Let me tell you, I've only known who Steve Rubin is for like 2 months, because something like 2 months ago, I went to some Legacy tournament. Like 2 months ago, I went to this Legacy tournament where it was like Power 9 or the prizes or whatever, and Steve Rubin was there, and I watched him play for like 10 minutes. I was like, wow, this guy seems really good, and now he's just everywhere. He's blown up. Nick,
Slide on over here. There we go.
Congrats, man. That was a heck of a match.
I don't know how I managed to pull out game 3.
I mean, it was incredible. It was just a really fun match to watch. Like, he really just kind of wheeled into some stuff.
Lands?
What
did he
wasn't
have in the
land?
end?
So your opponent cast an Ingature,
Multiple Ingatures.
cast another Ingature,
Ancient Grudge's
cast
flashback.
and flashback an Ancient Grudge, and resolved Burning Wish for Wheel of Fortune with Tolarian Academy in play.
Yep.
Right.
I'm drawing Wastelands while he's got 15 mana on the board. Yeah.
I mean, I really just think it comes down to he got unlucky on his wheel. He kind of turned his deck into a 1-for-1, well, even a 2-for-1.
He did.
He has a bunch of 2-for-1 artifact kill because, to be honest, the Ingatures in play were pretty annoying for you.
They were brutal because I can't swing with my Lodestones into him. I have to have the 2 factories in order to be able to pump and then trade, and I don't really want to do that.
It takes you forever.
My Revokers stay home. Yeah. It was,
but he just had no way to kill you.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the thinking that goes into your deck selection for this vintage event. I think a lot of people think about vintage as being this very slow-moving, molasses-like format where things don't change, but there have been a lot of changes since Cons of Tarkir, and so where were you coming into this tournament?
So I was going to be on Shops regardless. In vintage, everybody has their kind of pet deck or their pet pillar, and they kind of play whatever they want within their pillar usually. So I was going to play Shops regardless. It was just whether or not I was going to play Terra Nova or whether or not I was going to play Martello. The Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise for deck really led to potentially some very greedy decks. And I think that Martello was a better call for that with Forge Master activations and being able to Worm Coil Engine and Sunring Titan and Steel Hellkite. So I think the deck is very well positioned today. I think a lot of things broke in its favor. 3-0 is a nice start. We'll see what I do with it. Hopefully a little further, but we'll see.
Nice.
All right, we have a burning question. Why is it called Martello Shops?
So
we don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So the story on this is
it's a clean story.
Yeah.
All right, just check it. I have to check.
Yes, Mark. Did you check Urban Dictionary for Martello?
Oh no, I did not. Oh my gosh.
So the bad genius of shops is Raphael Farino, and his brother Vinny Farino, and they're very Italian. They love their Italian stuff, and so there's Italian names attached to pretty much everything that they build. Raph called me up one day and he said, "Yeah, I got a new deck. I want to play Forge Masters. I want to do this. I want to do that." And I said, "Oh, all right. What are you going to call it?" He says, "I'm going to call it Hammer Shops." Hammer Shops? You can call it Hammer Shops? You can't call it Hammer Shops. It's going to be MC Hammer references non-stop forever. Can't do that. So I looked up the name for Hammer in Italian, and it's Martello.
All right. That's awesome.
It's a great story, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian predicted that there was somehow Italianness involved.
Yeah. Also, I think both Chris and I have decided that if at some point we get our wedding vows renewed with our wife or have some big event, we're going to get you to do all the invitations.
Oh yeah, the handwriting.
The
handwriting on this deck list is incredible. I mean,
I am so mad at the judge who put this ugly scrawl on this list, to write down these numbers.
Thank you.
Is that what you write like normally, or do you save that for vintage?
Let me ask you a question. Did you do this at home last night?
No.
You did this morning?
Yeah, that was like 5 minutes before.
Because most people, when they get to the tournament, there's they've spilled coffee, they're jamming a breakfast sandwich into their face, their deck lists are disgusting. But you did this morning. You weren't borrowing cards.
No, I did this 5 minutes before the event started. So yeah, no, I get shit for that handwriting.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
I get nonsense for that handwriting at work. My coworkers apparently have a tough time reading that, but yeah.
Now one more question.
Shoot.
Which cards in your deck do you own the original artwork for?
For this deck, I don't think I own any of the art.
Wow.
What do I have? When we were playing Espresso, I had Karn, and at that time I still had Smokestack. I've got some cool art, but I don't have any of that. I got Morphling.
Wow.
Morphling is not well positioned.
No.
I don't think I can fit that one.
No.
Cast it off a Lotus.
In this deck, particularly poorly, but overall, not great. Not great in vintage.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Congrats. It was awesome.
Thank you both.
Okay. Great job. Let's shift back over here a little bit. The awkward shimmy. So Martello means hammer.
Yeah, now we know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. We don't know. I have not looked on our prediction.
And I know nothing of Italian. Never spoke Italian, cannot speak Italian.
Yeah.
Did not know many Italian speakers growing up.
Speaking of Italian, you're at Eternal Weekend, and some guys, I'm coming up the escalator with my, iced coffees, and some guy's coming down the escalator with 2 boxes of Italian Legends. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. Did you win that? He's like, no, I just bought them. We're going to draft on Wednesday.
Wow. They are in. I have some bad news for you. It's
Legends does not draft well.
Just think of how fun it was to draft Innistrad. Legends must be amazing. Not sure. You can give my guy Legendary Landmark. Why do I have these Legendary Lands? They barely do anything.
Legendary vanilla cats and things, and and by the way, you're like, what? It's Italian Legend. So
luckily it's mostly flavor text. It's just a 7/4. Doesn't matter. You can read 7/4.
Yeah, I'm drafted Pirates.
All right. So am I still here for round 4? I don't even know.
I think you're stepping out this round, and Randy's coming in. Randy's looking over the feature matches though before he gets here, doing a little bit of bookkeeping for us, a little housekeeping.
Oh, he did well. He did well last round.
Yeah.
Bobby Posty, Bill Lang, if you're in the room, please come to the side events area.
That was about as good a match as you're going to find in round 3.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, the backup match, the back table match, was also pretty ridiculous.
There's a lot of great players here. Obviously, I wish Luis Scott Vargas could have flown out for this.
Yeah.
But when we have David Williams and Bob Maher out there, there's a lot somewhere possibly losing, but maybe one of these so-called pros will win some matches.
Reed Duke playing vintage?
Reed Duke, I'm sure, is there.
Ari Lax. Reed only played yesterday. Okay.
Oh, Reed went home? That is unusual. Reed Duke likes Magic.
It's just, no, he's done. He quit. He's like, that's it.
I don't
I've played
believe
all the
you.
Magic I'm ever going to play in my life. I'm going home.
Right. He was probably
I'm going to catch up on Breaking Bad.
He was probably worried that if he started off 0-2, Reed Duke never drops. So maybe he was a little worried about the 0-9. That would be hard to live down.
Ari Lax, I think, got off to 2 wins. 2. He's 3. Okay. Oh, cool. We're gonna look at Ari
And
Lax.
I have no clue what Ari Lax plays in Vintage.
I believe that some cruises will be treasured.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ari seems like a guy who has a very wide range. Like he did. It seems to me that he's willing to play whatever's good.
Yeah.
Not really going to let any personal preference change
I think we could see young Pyromancer and Yawgmoth's Will
so the
sort of get played together, make a lot of tokens, flashback, a time walk.
The similar to the Luis Scott Vargas deck from Vintage Super League. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good deck. I mean, that I gotta say that I've really been happy with how many Vintage games I've watched recently. Where I feel like I really learned why Vintage works the way it is. Like you really see the games like, oh, this is why people play Null Rod. Oh, this is why Yawgmoth's Will is crazy. Like I feel like getting back into Vintage, at least recently, has reinforced everything I knew, and plus I've learned some new stuff.
Yeah. Yawgmoth's Will is crazy. Is not the new stuff you learned, though, right?
Well, I feel like maybe I forgot. Vintage Super League has really turned that around. I mean, you hopping in here? All right, I'm gonna hop out. I'll be back. It's been great.
See you in a bit.
Excuse me, for round 4.